I gotta give credit to Mishuko Tamisu. It's got one thing going for it here that's actually kind of impressive. I really am liking the names people come up with. I find them funny. I hope like there's gonna be at least a good dozen that I can use over the weeks. But most of the time when people are hey, the show took a nosedive or a downgrade when it came to the animation is usually when 3D's incorporated, right? They're like, oh, we would have preferred this dragon or this scene to be hand drawn because it's very visibly offsetting the way it is. The one thing this show's got going for it is, oddly enough, I think the show's moved and looked better in 3D than it has in 2D. Because when you compare most of the action scenes or general, more intense scenes over these 3 episodes, you've had characters literally in PNG just be dragged around the screen. And that honestly looks more distracting than giant goat dragon. Like, they literally looked like satanic ghosts before they transformed. I gotta be honest. I thought we were dealing with the devil. Honestly, I was okay with the 3D. I said, hey, they're moving at least. And to be honest, because they were mostly in a dark cave, they didn't really look that distracting. But yeah, should it still be better? 100%, but I gotta give credit where it's due. Hell, for all its faults, I mean, at least this is one show where you can say the 3D at least moved and looked better than the 2D when it came to actual, action animation, so there's that. Of course, if you want to see my full thoughts on these episodes, support my work, we do got the Patreon, full link of live reactions over there exclusively. So, to be honest, I do think the episodes are getting better. Episode 1 was by far the worst. Episode 2 felt like a double, if not triple upgrade from the previous. And this episode, while definitely a speed run through the content, I mean, I'm not sure if they cut stuff, but either way, I kind of just appreciate that they say, hey, you know what, we're just going to jog through this story, and we're just going to keep it going. We're going to just, because here's the thing, you've seen these stories 1,000 times anyway. I mean, I get that it has a popular fan base, but you can't tell me with a straight face that people are going to be lost because we didn't see an extra episode or 2 of this kid with a dragon in a cave. Like, the only thing I might have cared more of is why he was seemingly crying over her death. I mean, I get having compassion, but at a certain point I'm like, hey, 1, that bitch could have left with us through that portal, couldn't she? And 2, even if we go under the assumption that, hey, she needed to, when time resumed, she had to be in the same location, hence why she got shot down. I mean, at the same time, I'm not sure if 3 days would be enough for me to cry over her, but I don't know. I'm not in that situation, so who am I to say? I'm going to assume she gets reborn, though. Given that we're already in a world of reincarnation and he seemingly has a dragon egg with him, I'm going to assume she might get reincarnated here. I don't know. But to be honest, the actual lore implications and the storytelling, despite it being very snappy, very fast-paced, once you see a couple hundred anime, let alone 1,000, I felt like I was like, okay, despite me not having a lot of nuanced details, I don't know, I'm kind of having fun. I mean, it's not often you have a guy who is a murderous warlord be reborn into a body of a kid who has a loving family and get saved after falling by a giant satanic goat-looking dragon who says, oh, you want to kill? Flick, and gets thrown into a rock pile. I mean, when you end last episode with something so menacing looking at a child, I'm like, oh, okay, here we go. Even if we get the whole Veldora-style plotline from Slime, I mean, at the end of the day, it's going to be pretty intense, and then you just hear this soft-spoken, motherly voice, and I'm like, I don't know who you are, but there's no way you're going to be traveling with us after we leave this cave, unless, it's going to be a mentor we pop back in every so often. It is kind of funny, though, because if we assume Arthur goes back home relatively soon, whether that's we kickstart next episode, he's already back home, or he gets there in a couple of weeks, he's gonna come home with tattoos. Mom and dad are gonna look at him and say, what type of crowd did you fall into by the time, you fell off that cliff? But it's interesting because immediately when this thing starts talking with us and he's interacting with us, I'm like, okay, are you the reason we were reborn in this world? Because it knew a lot about Arthur. And that's the thing I'm liking about this show, is that even though, yeah, if you give me the option of Demon Slayer animation and art direction versus this, yeah, I would take the Demon Slayer production. But the dialogue, the voice actors, and even the music can be pretty good at times too. They have me interested in what they're doing here, and I'm actually kind of excited to see where they're going to go. I mean, of course, the negativity is the main voice in this fandom right now. And hey, people are allowed to have their opinions. But at the end of the day, I'm not gonna just, go with the mass opinion that, like, everything about this show sucks because everyone says so. More excited each week learning about this world, and that's a good sign. As long as the general look of the show isn't butt-ass ugly, something like the Newgate as an example. It lost animation, but it also lost art consistency. At times, it was literally a circle with 2 dots and a bit of a smiley face. And it's not an exaggeration. I've used images from that for thumbnails in that show. Like, that's where it starts getting bad. But the fact that the general art looks fine to me, I mean, and if anything, it looks like normal animation, or normal art, I should say, because obviously art and animation, 2 different things. So as long as I generally like looking at the world, so the general look of the characters, I enjoy. And to be honest, the 3D really wasn't that distracting. There was a couple of times, I felt like more so when she turned into her true dragon form, it was more noticeable than the weird satanic goat dragon design that they had going on there. I've also seen people shit talk that, like, oh, the effects just look like some Adobe After Effects. I mean, they work, to be honest. I mean, it doesn't come across as stock footage-y as it does with, like, your generic campfire effects. But like I say, I mean, I get why people are upset with it. I just legitimately like the story so far. I like listening to the VAs, and in general, I think the idea of the fact that every episode 2 we're seeing a little bit more of his OG life, I really enjoy, because I thought it would only be key moments that, like, he would get a flashback. This episode, we learn a bit more about what the king was in his world, and the fact that the king was more of a figurehead than anything. The council seemingly is who had most political power. The king was just there for war. And the fact that his entire life was just bloodshed is really interesting, given that his second chance at life here is so much more engaging than something like a Mushoku Tensei to me, because you have someone who knew nothing but killing and now is having to rediscover what a compassionate human life looks like. Not only because he's like, hey, I want this power so I can kill my enemies. Bad boy, what do you want power for? I want the power to protect people. He doesn't he's starting to not just simply chase after death, he's chasing after protection. And sure, sometimes protection will come with death. Look at his family. They clearly killed those bandits. But it's not the fact that he's just like, I have to kill someone right away. It's clearly that's the character arc we're building into. And I think that's pretty engaging. I mean, it's very easy for me to just come up here and just, like, look at what the mass opinion is and just say, oh, this is the outrage we're doing this week. Bet. And I could just be like, this show, but I like the story. I do. It's not the best story I'm watching this season, not anywhere close. I mean, this is a season that has shows like Apocalypse Hotel or Kowloon Generic Romance or To Be Hero X. I think those shows shit on this show 10 times over. But am I having fun with this show and want to see where it goes? Absolutely. I mean, it's interesting because I can say it like I said last week. People can absolutely hate this show and I'm not going to lose sleep over it. I just am not bored currently. And people will still be like, you're defending it because you love it. So it's like, no, I enjoy it, yeah, but I don't love it. I'm just interested in it. It's a very fascinating thing. And hell, even with the author, Turtle Me, or whatever the hell the guy's name is, he can come out with an interview and say, hey, I'm not in the camp of wanting this remade. I'm in the camp of I just want to see things improve because I support improving your work rather than trying to erase and redo. And then I'll still see the clickbait of, the author hates it and the author wants nothing. It's like, that's not what the author said. I love the internet. Let me know your thoughts down below, though. I did see a lot of people last week say, hey, surprisingly, like, I enjoyed this more than episode 1. Also saw a lot of people say they absolutely hate it, which I get, but still, I'm interested to see what the opinion will be this week. Let me know down below. Leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new around here, of course ring that bell. And like I mentioned, we got those full live reactions over on Patreon, and hey, while you're over there, I'll just give you a video shout out. Alright, so today we got Pacifist Gunslinger, Isaac Thulling, Andrea Ramades, Kamozo Beat, and we also have Oracle. So I appreciate the support, everyone. Please take care, and y'all have a good one.